and I'm here with Markus Rothkranz. It's been, yeah, the famous Markus Rothkranz, right? So yeah, I'm just here and we're just gonna have a conversation about health or just anything like spiritual related or just anything really. So, Markus, how long have you been into raw foods?
Uh, uh, Geez, I don't know. When did I start? Like 15 years ago? I don't even know. It just kind of
Yeah.
happened. I mean,
Right. Yeah. It doesn't really matter. I know a lot of people they keep track of, oh, like how long have they been raw, but yeah, it's just one of those things that just comes into your life and
yeah.
kind of just goes from there. So, what is something that you would recommend anybody who is hesitant of actually getting into raw foods, and if they were worried about like deficiencies or just like losing their hair or losing their teeth?
Yeah, well, first thing that we should clarify is what is raw food? We're not talking about eating raw meat or stuff like that. That's not what we're talking. We're talking about plant-based stuff here. The concept is you eat things the way you find it in nature. If you're walking around in the woods and you see an apple tree and you eat an apple, I mean, it's that simple. Whatever it is you find, you pick it. And you see a berry bush, you eat the berries. That's the way nature intended us to eat. And the fact that people are afraid of that, it just blows my mind. That they think it's healthier or safer to go to a store and eat something that's in a bag or a bottle or a box or some kind of packaged thing that was made in a factory from some mystery source that's just, I mean, that doesn't make sense. I mean, why are people so afraid of eating things the way they find it in nature? And deficiencies, yeah. I mean, if you go to the grocery store and you only buy from the produce section, you're going to buy stuff that's probably like grown on a farm, and farm soil is kind of depleted. They only put NPK. That's only 3 minerals out of 60 back into the soil. So you will probably be missing some things. So it's better to buy a variety of things from different, all different kinds of types from different. The more variety you have, the better chance you have. Rather than people tend when they go to the grocery store to just buy the same 12 things over and over and over, and they just get in a habit. But a lot of being healthy is getting over your fears, and that is trying new things and getting excited about those new things. And so as much variety as possible, just try to eat things from the grocery produce section. In other words, something that was grown as a plant, and you don't bake it to death or cook it to death or boil it to death. Because if you bake an apple and put it in the ground, it's dead. If you plant a raw apple, then an apple tree comes out. There's still life in raw food, and that's the whole idea. The enzymes are still intact. A lot of vitamins are heat sensitive. So when you cook and bake and boil stuff, you're killing the food, and that's why people you're losing the life force over time if they only cook food. So I mean it's just basic common sense.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. I agree though, because you have this book right here, which I love. I love the Wild book. It's yeah. I've learned so much from that. But in general, just from using your products, like just the wild, the real food. I just I learned that from you, and I'm so grateful to just know that it's the actual weeds. It
Yeah.
weeds. Yeah, like you call them. You say like they're called weeds, but they're not actually weeds. Like that's just a name people call it for like something that's unwanted. But really,
Right.
it's something. Because the weeds pull up the nutrients that are really deep in the ground. So yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy because people get into this belief of like, oh, we're gonna go deficient. Um, what is something like I know I asked somebody like what I would ask you, like what they want me to ask you. One of the things they asked was, what do you think of the like high carb and low fat diets, like long term?
See, I made a video where I showed several things. I said, is this a fat, a carb, or a protein? And I show an avocado, and it's like a game show. Ding dong, tick tick, and I go, bing. It's all three. Okay, then I show some cashews and I go, is this a carb, a protein, or a fat? Tick, 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 ding. It's all three. Like people like to classify stuff. Like they like to put a number on it or classify it. It's got fats, it's got carbs, it's got protein. Like what if you eat stuff the way you find it in nature, you're going to get a natural balance anyway. It's when you start isolating things and taking things out of the where you find it, and you only use the fat, you only use the protein, you only use the carb. That's when you start running into problems. If you just eat a natural, balanced plant-based diet, you're going to get all three. I mean, we eat a lot of nuts and seeds and even fruit. Avocado is a fruit. They think fruit is just sugary stuff, like mangoes and bananas, right? That's all people eat is the sweet stuff. Well, an avocado is actually a fruit. So is a cucumber. Oh, but it's not sweet tasting, so that doesn't count, right? So, but it's silly. Avocado's got healthy fats, it's got some protein, it's got fiber. I mean, same thing with cashews. Cashew's not a nut, by the way. It's the seed of a drupe. Who cares about that? But anyway, it's got fats. It's got a lot of zinc in it, which is good for you. You need zinc every day. Brazil nuts have selenium, which is, if you eat a variety of a number of things, like, a little bit of everything, then you're okay. You don't have to worry about it. People like that. They're so obsessed with, am I getting enough carbs? Am I getting too many carbs? Am I getting too much fat? I said, we don't even think about it. We have I mean, I could sit down and break it down, but we don't care, and we're doing fine. We don't obsess over that. And there are people who like the fruitarians who only eat sweet fruits, and that's one of the major problems, or one of the in my book, Heal Yourself, I list the main mistakes people make when they try to go on the raw vegan diet. And the first thing they do is they always pick the good tasting stuff. They always go for the sweet things. All they eat is mangoes and bananas, and they wonder why their teeth start falling out and their hair starts falling out, and they start having issues, and they start having hypoglycemic symptoms. Because you weren't supposed to eat just that. You're supposed to have a balanced diet. Even monkeys know to eat half green, leafy things and half fruit. Nothing wrong with fruit. Just have your leafy greens too. And then they go, and then they start juicing the fruit. Oh, that concentrates the sugar even more. Now you have isolated sugar and no fiber. There's as much sugar in a glass of orange juice as there is in a Coca-Cola. That's not natural. So, people keep trying to, they think, I'm healthy now because I'm raw vegan. Yeah, well, you're still cheating. You're still not eating the bitter things. You need some bitter things because that helps clean your liver and it helps your digestion. If you only eat sweet things, you're out of balance. Now you start, and you have too much sugar, then that will start feeding the yeast and the pathogens. So you have to eat things in balance. And actually, the healthier you are and the more you eat the way nature intended, the more the bitter stuff is not bitter anymore. You actually start craving it and becomes part of your what you feel you need. People that are in the modern world, they're so used to sugar and salt, and the fatty fried foods, that they have no idea. They're not used to anymore what natural stuff tastes like, and that's part of the problem. You have to kind of acclimate yourself back to it.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. That was a lot of good, valuable information right there. We talk about the food. We could talk about the food part all the time and like go all day with that. But
yeah,
what's more important, I think, is just what you always explained is getting rid of the things that are causing our problem in the first place.
Right.
And that's not just food either. It's
right.
also like you talk about relationships. I'm like you're a little fanboy here. Yeah. Instructions for a New Life. That book right there is like pretty much the basics of like everything. Just getting rid of the fears and just blocking out. And following your signal. That's what I really, really loved. And like something I want to ask you is when in your life did you start finding and realizing that it's easier and just much easier to come to peace and just follow that signal, follow your intuition? Like when in your life was that clear to you?
Well, I think I took the same path that most people take, and that is you start off life doing what society programs you to do. You're just like this little programmed robot watching TV, doing what social media does. Like you just hop on the trendy thing and you do what they all say. And I did that. And I did all the fun things. I mean, I was eating, nothing but Burger King and McDonald's and Pizza Hut, and wondering why I was sick all the time. And um, so, and then I got the wife, I got the house, the picket fence, I moved to Hollywood, I got the flashy job, I got the money, I did everything they tell you to do. So as far as I was concerned, by the time I was in my mid 20s, I had made it, right? I was working in Hollywood. I had the hot wife, I had the house, the car, the money, but I wasn't happy. I was dying. I was literally dying. My doctor said, if you don't change something, your heart's going to give out in a few months, because this valve is about to collapse. And and I was bleeding when I went to the bathroom. I had asthma, allergies, chronic bronchitis like 4 times a year. I needed glasses like, an inch thick. It was bad. I mean, it was bad. And my relationship sucked. And even though I was making money, I didn't have really anything. Everything was just not working. And I don't know why. I said, like, theoretically, everything should be working. And I did everything society told me to do. And I was trying to be the good little boy. I never drank. I never smoked. I never did drugs. So why am I not happy? Why am I not, So I think people, they try to naturally, and this is human nature. And even if you do know what to do, like, you're supposed to, apple's better for you than a pizza, people are still going to do the pizza, because they're going to go, I'm going to eat as much pizza as I can until I start getting sick, and then I'm going to hop over to the apple, right? They think that they can, like, it's human nature. I want to see how they want to see how far they can get away with something before it's like a plane's about to crash, and people think they could just hop off the plane at the last second, right? It's like, that's the way they think. It's like, okay, I'm going to do the fun stuff until I just can't take it anymore, and then I'm going to hop over to the good stuff. It doesn't work that way. And so I think it's human nature to just go as far as you can with the addictive, comfort-based, instant gratification lifestyle. And then when your life starts to fall apart and you get into panic mode, then you're like, oh my God, what do I do? And then you realize, oh, I guess it's like you have to start dumping some stuff. And I wasn't really that. I wasn't trying to sneak a lot of bad things. I just didn't know I was doing a lot of things that were unhealthy, and I had to give everything up. And I just said, okay, this obviously isn't working, so I give up. And I literally gave up everything. I gave up my job, my relationship, my income, everything that I knew was me. And I walked naked into the desert, and I just literally started my life over. And I said, I don't care if I don't even want to come back. I don't even want to live if this is life, because this isn't working. And so I gave it up, and I came back, and I said, I'm not coming back unless I find something that works. And you have to start from scratch. You have to start with what works. That, eating an apple is good, or drinking water, that's better for you than a soft drink or whatever. So you start with the basics, and you really don't need a lot. I mean, it's amazing how if I was able to survive naked in the desert for a month, and I didn't have income, I didn't have a grocery store, I didn't have, any electricity, I didn't have anything. And if I could survive like a basic animal in the wild, then it just goes up from there, and you don't need a lot. You realize how little you don't even need to eat a lot. You could go weeks without food. All you need is water. I mean, it's amazing. It's called fasting. It cleanses you out. You feel clearer. You can think better. Your priorities, are you can see them finally. So it just took that to get me to, okay, well, I know this works. And now that you're clean and you have, you start from a clean base, if any little thing that you try that is not good for you, you instantly know it. You just feel it in your soul. And so it's easier at that point to say yes, no, okay, yes, no. And then you start only taking in the things and hanging on to the things that, or using the things that feel right, they're good for you. And that's the process.
Right. Yeah. No. Well, we can't get to that point if we are all clogged up, right? So
Right.
It's about, getting rid of what doesn't serve us anymore. That's really like, it's a good feeling. It's a really good feeling when you can actually just be clear and know what's right. Yeah. So, what would be the first step, do you think, for somebody? Because I know you have Heal Yourself 101. I guess that would be the first step, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Get that book. But what is there anything like specifically that you just would have to let somebody know to for them to really follow their that signal from source, God, universe, to really get clear?
Well, the main thing is, the first thing is you have to allow yourself an open mind. You have to be willing to tell yourself, okay, if I really want to change my life and go and get ahead in life and be more successful, health wise, financially, relationship wise, with anything, and I'm not happy where I'm at now, then something has to change. And in order to change, I have to allow change to come in, and which means I have to have an open mind and allow, maybe I don't know everything and I need to allow some new concepts to come in, and to just give them a try, to, to, it might not work, but I got to basically, you got to have an open mind in order to try new things. Because if you go into it with a negative mind thinking it's not going to work, it's not going to work. Yeah, you gotta allow it to work, because it's all energy. Even Einstein said everything in the universe is energy, and if you have a negative energy, that's what you're going to get. But if you're excited about something, if you're willing to try something new and you're willing to give it a shot, and you're open to it, and you're allowing it to flow through you, then the things will start happening. And everybody's different, everybody's journey is different. Things that work for this person don't work for this person, but there is kind of a general uh, uh, a general amount of what do you call it, structure of the way that works for most people. There are some common things that everybody can share, and that's what my channel is about, is to help, you know find what works for you. But generally, this is what I find works for most people. And the ones who say, that's not going to work for me, before they even try it, they don't want to change. The people who don't want to stop smoking or drinking or doing drugs, or they're the way they think about money or relationships or whatever, or whatever they eat. It's like, that means you're addicted to something. You don't want to stop, and you're afraid that if you stop it, then you're going to not have that pleasurable experience anymore. Well, how are you going to know unless you try the other thing? You might like what you're doing now. You might like the way it tastes, the way it feels, but maybe that other thing feels even better. Find out.
Right. Yeah. It kind of relates to what you said before. You're given what you need already. Like within whatever situation you're in, you already have what you need, even if it may not be what you really
Right.
desire. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You always are given what you need. You might not think so. It's like the guy, the story, the guy that's out in the ocean, and he drowns. He has a log come by, and he doesn't. Anyway, he drives, goes to heaven, and goes, well, God says, why didn't you grab the log? He says, well, I wanted a luxury cruise liner to pick me up, and I said, well, that's all I had available at the time, was a log. And people, they want the luxury ride, they want the comfort, they want the instant gratification, right away. And I go, well, that's kind of a side effect that happens down the road. That's not what you go for right away. You gotta pay your dues. You gotta do what you gotta do to get all that stuff that people are going for right away. The money and the good tasting stuff that comes to you down the road. That's kind of like a side effect of doing the right thing. It's not that shouldn't be your goal. And people that go after that stuff from the beginning, those are the ones that usually end up being really disappointed or unhappy, at some point, because that's not why you do things.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You're meant to do it what comes naturally, like to you,
Right.
and naturally uplifts other people. And you've been an example of that. It seems like really a lot. What would you recommend to someone who is younger, like my age, like in their 20s, who they're not sure exactly what to do? They're having a lot of different people telling them what they maybe should do, but they don't feel right about it. Or maybe they just feel like they're not in the right environment, and they're still living with their parents, or they just
Yeah.
feel kind of stuck.
That's why I wrote Instructions for New Life. That was originally written for people coming out of prison, who society doesn't want, and they don't know where to start, and they have to figure out a new way to look at life, a new value system, a new way of looking at things, because the old way they looked at things is what got them in trouble. And I think a lot of people in normal life are in a type of prison. They're in a relationship prison, a money prison, a health prison, and they don't know how to get out of it. So it relates to everybody, and they don't know where to start. The first way, the best health comes from being yourself, from being happy and free to be yourself. When people tell you what to do, you're not happy, because that's, you know, that's like an insult. That's like, they're not allowing you to be you. They're not telling you, what is it you do best? What makes you happiest? That's what you should be doing. And those are the people that become successful. So if somebody forces you to do something you don't want to do, you're not going to be happy. You're going to end up getting cancer and dying, because the life force is taken out of you. So in order to live, you need to have your life force flowing. And that, you got to be excited about life. You got to get up in the morning excited about what you're going to do that day. It's all creativity, or it's the other way. There's creativity, and then there's destruction. One is positive, one is negative. So when you get up in the morning, if you're excited about the creative potential of the day, then that's good energy. That's good. If you wake up in the morning and you're depressed and going, oh, it's another day of work, and and you feel like your energy is being drained or sucked, if you keep going that route, your energy is going to be sucked to the point where disease comes in, and you start dying. So you need to follow that path. That's you. And nobody can tell you what your path is, because they're not you. All they can see is their own path. Most people can't even see their own path. So if they can't even see their own path, how the hell can they see yours? You know, it doesn't make any sense. So the point is that the only one who can see your path is you, and help asking others for advice as to which path should I take. It never works. For me, it's never worked. And, you know, I've had a lot of logical, smart, intelligent, rich people tell me what to do, and I followed their advice, and it never worked, because they can't see my path. They can only see what's good for them. And even if it works for them, anybody who tries to copy someone else, it will not work, because that worked for them, because that's what they were supposed to be doing. Your job is something else. And until you start listening to your own message and following that, you're not going to be happy. You're not going to be successful. You're not going to be healthy. And relationships will suck. Money will suck. Everything will suck. And you're going to feel like, why am I even living? So you have to start. And the other thing to realize is, once you realize what feels right, and you have the courage to follow it, doesn't mean it's going to be an easy trip. You're going to be tested. Life is going to test you to see if you really are willing to stick with and fight for what you feel is yours. You might lose everything. You might have everything. I've lost everything 10 times over. I mean, that's part of the test. Your relationships will be torn apart. Your money will be taken away. You'll lose everything you have. Your health will be tested. And every time, if you look back at those things where, you know, those tests, you realize that's what made you stronger. You realize what not to do again. You learn from that. You need that. It's part of growth. It's like the exams you go through in school. People who are really successful at anything, they've been through a lot of failures. You have to go through failure in order to get, like, look at bodybuilders. You have to tear muscle apart, go through pain in order to build your muscle, your strengths. Well, you got to build your health muscle, your relationship muscle, your financial muscle. You have to build that in order to get strong in any of those areas. You need to feel pain. You need to go through, you got to like work it. And that includes failures. You got to go through failures. And that's why I wrote that book. And it's just a little pocket book. I mean, it's basically that should be a $3,000 book. It's like a Bible of certain kinds. You know, and then also my channel, I just give all kinds of video advice to, you know, for free to people who's too lazy to read a book. Okay, then watch 3,000 videos of mine and maybe the pieces will come together. But you got to listen to your own. I call it the inner GPS. You know, you got to listen to your own personal GPS that's always whispering to you quietly, and it's going to tell you to go places where other people think you're nuts. Don't go down there. You're crazy. Why are you going there? Well, nobody's gone that route because that's my path. You know, so just because nobody's done something before doesn't mean it's the wrong path. It probably is the right one because that's your job to go down that, you know. And even if it is the wrong path, you'll find out, you'll learn, and then you'll do something different.
Yeah, exactly.
That's part of life. How are you going to know it tastes bad if you don't taste it?
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. I've experienced that too. Like, you know, people are telling you like, why do that? Why it's something right now, like specifically like I'm gonna do, and people are like, don't do that, but I'm just like, whatever.
Right.
But
right.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody. I mean, I was picked on in school. I was beat up. I was the nerdy little fairy boy. You know. So what? I mean, where are they now? I'm the one that's successful, and they're. So just because you're different, and you know, it's funny how what people consider strong and weak. It's bullying is, it gets a lot of attention. They get a lot of followers because it seems like they're strong, but they're actually, people do that out of weakness because they're afraid. It's funny because the nerdy little guys, the Bill Gates of the world, you know, they're nerds. They get picked on when they're young, and they have these silly little ideas, but they stick with it. The inner strength to stick with your path, even though you get beat up for it along the way, that's a stronger strength than somebody who uses muscle power to beat you up. And no matter whatever you go through in life, there's going to be, even on social media, everybody's getting attacked now. It's so easy to attack somebody from a keyboard, right? Because it's anonymous. Well, that's bullying. People are going to get bullied. They're going to get attacked. They're going to get put on the spot, called out. You know, all that's the crap that people are calling it. You know, you're going to get attacked no matter what you do. And the more positive and successful you become, the more you're going to attract people to attack you, because they don't want somebody to be more successful than them, because they want people to be in the same misery level that they're at. It makes them feel good. Well, you got to realize that and go, look, I'm not going to be dragged down by your misery. You know, I'm going to have a good time. And if you want to know how to do it too, then maybe learn a few things from me. But until then, you know, you got to follow your own path too. You can't just copy people. So what I do, I like to say, don't just copy everything I do. Be inspired by it and find your own version of it, and follow it. But you know, I'm as I'm going, I'm sharing what works for me, and some of that might resonate with some people, and some might not. But at least I'm here to show that there is a great life out there. It does work. You can't heal all the bad things in your life. You can heal your body. You can heal your finances and your relationships and your freedom and your ability to travel the world and all that. You can heal I mean, I remember years ago, I was like, how am I ever going to make it in life? Like, God, look at all those people having a good life and traveling the world and having a great time, and look at, you know, experiencing all these wonderful things. Gee, it must be nice. You know, I had to get over that must be nice attitude in order to get that stuff that's nice. You got to stop being jealous. You got to stop thinking that that's different than you. You just got, and sometimes it takes time. It takes 40 years sometimes. It took me 45 years to get to where I'm at. And I was struggling along the way. And I thought, you know, there's points where you just feel like, am I ever going to make it? You know, some people make it young and some people make it old, but the ones who make it when they're young, they usually don't appreciate what they have. Look at all these famous celebrities who get super rich when they're young, and then they get into drugs and they kill themselves because they don't have any way to regulate what they have. They don't know what to compare it to. They didn't struggle to get there.
Right. Yeah. You're right though. Like kind of what you were talking about earlier. It's the people who went through the struggles that they've already, yeah, they've went through the process of losing things and then gaining back, and yeah. So it builds them up and makes them stronger. And you're right. Like you wouldn't appreciate it if you got it so quickly.
Yeah. They say poisonous animals like black widows or snakes. What do you think's more dangerous, a giant black widow or a little tiny baby one? It's the little tiny baby one. Even though the big one looks scary, it's not as poisonous, it's not as deadly as the little tiny ones, because the little tiny ones they're like human teenagers. They can't control themselves. Their hormones, they're so excited. Like, you know how 16-year-olds, they get in the car, the first thing they do is they go 100 miles an hour and they get in an accident and they die, right? Because they don't control themselves. Well, an adult black widow only dispenses a tiny bit of poison, just enough to get the job done, whereas the little baby ones, the adolescents, they shoot everything they have. They just bam, they hit you with every bit of poison they have because they're just so excited about it, you know. And that's why they're more deadly. And that's the same thing with humans. When you're younger, you can't control yourself. You don't have anything to you know, you can't keep the speed limit safe, and that's why it's all over the place. But once you've been through everything and you know that you can control everything, you've got everything smoothed out, and you know how to regulate your life, then you can be trusted more with money and relationships and everything else and the good stuff in life. But you gotta go through boot camp. You gotta work your way to get to that point to where you have life experience to know how much to invest in this and this and hold back on this and this, you know. It only comes from experience, and some people try to do it from just reading and learning, and it's all theoretical for them, but they didn't experience it. And each person's journey is different. So just because, like I said, something works for this person doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So if you just try to live your life based on theory and what you've read and what you've seen on the internet, you're going to still fall on your face a bunch of times, because that doesn't mean it's going to work for you.
Yeah, it's all theory. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
right.
all theory. Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of what you're saying, like of what you said in this conversation, like I've experienced that a little bit, just in the way of focusing on things that aren't really meant for you, but I would do things out of fear, thinking that it was my only choice, but it really, not doing those things, it really wasn't for me. But instead of doing that, just finding the inner calling, using my gifts to help people, it's easier, and it just
Yeah.
flows easier that way.
Yeah, I remember I had a father-in-law who he was in Vietnam, and I mean, people were getting killed left and right, and he was at a point where he just gave up, and he says, I don't even care if I live or die. And he just went forward, and he became a hero, because he was just, the things that he did because he didn't care anymore. He didn't fear death, and he just did it. He just became this focused, you know, he just did what needed to be done, and he became a hero in so many ways, because he had, you know, fear is what screws people up. It's what gets in the way, and you think too much. You know, when you walk upstairs and you think about walking up this, and then you start tripping when you think about what foot goes in front of what foot. Well,
Right.
that's the same thing. People think too much in life, and they worry too much, and then they start tripping because they think about it. It's when you stop thinking about it, you stop worrying about it, and you just start doing it. You don't even have to know how. You just know. And that's where I get back to the original thing. Just do what feels right, and it just comes naturally. That's it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's overthinking, and that's what happened to me. I mean, there was a point where I wasn't overthinking, but then one year it was just a lot of overthinking. But then, I just come back to just finding the inner peace, and yeah, it kind of it's kind of, I guess, related to kind of what we were talking about earlier, how you go through the challenges and then it gets easier, and then you go through challenges again, but it's different, of course, but I thought it was kind of a similar thing.
right.
but yeah, so I
Okay.
guess, yeah, well, thank you, Marcus, for coming on to this the video with me.
My pleasure.
Yeah, it was really great. So yeah, thank you. Oh yeah, one more thing. Where should people go to find out more about your information?
Just thehealthylife.com.
All right.
That'll
I'll
lead on
put
to everything.
yeah, I'll put your links below in the description.
Send me your link and I'll put it on my newsletter.
Great. That sounds great.
Great. Good talking to you,
Thank you,
Jeremy.
Markus. Good
All right,
talking
have
to
a good
you. You too.